So next I am going to discuss the solutions for the questions in assignment in kinematics up to falling bodies. Already I have discussed the solutions of the first 24 questions. Next I am going to discuss the solutions of the questions numbering from 25 onwards. So these questions I already shown you on the screen earlier. I told you to try them. I have even shown the answers for key in my previous class, but I have not discussed the solutions for questions 25 to 39, which I am going to discuss now. See the question number 25. Water drops fall from a tap onto the floor 5 meters below at regular intervals of time. The first drop strikes the floor, then the fifth drop begins to fall. The height at which the third drop will be from the ground. At that instant when first strikes the ground is g equal to 10 meter per second square. Look at the solution of this problem. So here the drops fall at regular intervals of time. That means the time interval between two successive drops is the same. When the first drop strikes the floor, the fifth drop just begins to fall from the tap. The height above the floor from which the drops begin to fall is 5 meters. As you must be familiar with the conclusion, one conclusion which I have discussed earlier. Body starts from rest and moves with constant acceleration. Then the distances covered in successive equal intervals of time are in the ratio 1:2, 3:5, 7, etc. When the first drop strikes the floor, fifth one begins to fall. Second and third drops will lie in between. Second, third, fourth drops. So if x is the distance between fifth and fourth drops at that instant, then the distance between third and fourth will be 3x. Distance between third and second will be 5x. And distance between second and first will be 7x. Because if a body starts from rest and moves with constant acceleration, the ratio of the distance covered successive equal intervals of time will be 1:3:5:7:9. Let us about the time gap between two successive drops is t1. That means second drop begins to fall t1 seconds after first drop. Third drop begins to fall t1 seconds after second drop, and so on. The next is the distance covered first t1 seconds. Distance covered next t1 seconds will be 3x. Like that. So you can observe from the figure that x plus 3x plus 5x plus 7x will be equal to 5 meters. So you get 16x equal to 5 meters, or x equal to 5 by 16 meters. So height of the third drop above the floor at that instant will be 7x plus 5x, that is 12x. 12 into 5 by 16 meter 15 by 4 meter or 3.75 meters. That's the answer. There is another method. Let us denote the height above the floor from which the drop begins to fall by h. Let T1 be the time interval between two successive drops. So time of free fall for each drop when it's to strike the floor is root of 2h by g. Here h equal to 5 meters, g equal to 10 meter per second square. So total time taken by one of the drops to reach the floor is 1 second. So there are 4 equal intervals of time t1, 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 t1 between successive drops. So we can write 4 t1 equal to capital T. So t1 equal to capital T by 4. So the second drop moves for a time interval t1 plus t1 to t1 up to the instant when the first drop strikes the floor. At the instant when the first drop strikes the floor, the third drop falls for a time interval equal to 2t1. So distance covered by the third drop below the tap up to the instant when the first drop strikes the floor will be half gt square using that formula. Half gt square, here g equal to 10 meter per second square and t equal to t1 by t by 4 means 1 by 4 seconds. So g equal to 10 meter per second square and I t equal to t1. Can simplify that. That will be 5 into 2t1 whole square means 2 into 1 by 4 whole square meters. So you get 1.25 meters. So 1.25 meter is the distance moved with third drop after the instant the first drop strikes the floor. So height of the third drop above the floor will be 5 minus 1.25 meters. 1.25 meter distance covered by third drop. That is the distance from the tap up to here. So height of third drop on the floor will be h minus 1.25 meter. That will be 5 meter minus 1.25 meter. That comes out to be 3.75 meter. You can arrive at the same answer. So if you want to copy the solution of this problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of this problem. See the question number 26. Stone is dropped on the top of a cliff and 2 seconds later, another stone is thrown vertically downwards with a velocity of 40 meters per second. How far below the cliff the second stone will overtake the first stone? Assume g equal to 10 meters per second square. Let us suppose each stone starts from the point A from the top of the cliff. Second stone is dropped means zero initial velocity. The first stone is dropped and second one is projected downwards. Let us suppose the second stone overtakes the first stone at the point P. After covering a distance, yes. The second stone overtakes the first stone at the point P after covering a distance, yes. So each stone travels same distance, yes, up to this instant when the second stone just reaches the point P. First stone started earlier than the second stone. The second stone starts 2 seconds later. So if time of motion for the first stone is 2 seconds, Time of motion for the first stone, if you denote it by t1, time of motion for second stone can be as t1 minus 2 seconds. The first stone started from rest means with zero initial velocity. So distance traveled with the first stone can be as s equal to half g square. Is equal to half g into t1 square. So distance covered by the second stone. Second stone starts with some initial velocity u. There is initial velocity 0 for the first stone. So for second stone, again using the formula, same formula, is equal to ut plus half at square. This is for the first stone here. This is for second stone. So for second stone, initial velocity is 40 meter per second. Acceleration equal to g, t equal time taken for second stone t1 minus 2 seconds. So you can find the distance s, you know t1. So to find t1, you can equate the value of s from first and second equations. So equating the value of s from first and second equations. S equal to half gt1 square plus equal to 40t 40 into t should be taken as here t1 minus for second stone you should take t equal to t1 minus 2 seconds plus half g into t1 minus 2 whole square. This you have to simplify. If you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can start writing. You can expand that. And you can first solve for t1. So half gt1 square, half gt square, and the 1 square gets cancelled. Can solve for t1 first here, and then after that you can substitute the value of t1 in this equation. This you call first one, this is the second one. So you get 0 is 0 equal to minus 80, 40 t1 minus 80 of g, take numerical equal to 10 here, minus of g is 10 into 4 into t1. So we get 20 t1 equal to 60. Simplify this. So you get t1 equal to, if you simplify this, you get t1 equal to 3. That means the time of motion for the first stone up to the point P is 3 seconds. Substitute this value of t1 equal to 3 seconds in the first equation. It's equal to half g t1 square, g is 10 meter per second square, t1 is 3 seconds. So you get the answer as 45 meters. If you want to copy down the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy down the solution of the problem. So the question number 27. Stone after falling freely under gravity for 3 seconds strikes a pane of glass horizontally. In breaking through the pane, the stone loses 2/3 of its velocity. So the distance traveled by it in the next 3 seconds is, so the velocity gain after first 3 seconds. Falls freely under gravity for 3 seconds before striking the pane of glass. Velocity gained by freely falling out body after time t is given by g into t. So after first 3 seconds, it gains a velocity of 30 meter per second. So after striking the pane of glass, it loses 2/3 of its velocity. So for next 3 seconds, this is the pane of glass. It falls like this. It strikes the pane of glass with a velocity of 30 meter per second. It comes out. It loses 2/3 of its velocity. So for initial of it loses 2/3 means the remaining velocity will be 1/3. 2/3 is lost means the remaining value will be 1/3 of the value before it strikes the pane of glass. So velocity for next 3 seconds. I mean initial velocity for next 3 seconds you can take it as 10 meter per second. Drag for a falling body equal to g, that is 10 meter per second square. So you have to find the displacement for next 3 seconds. So you can use the equation as equal to ut plus half at square. You have to take u equal to 10 meter per second, t equal to 3 seconds, a equal to g, that is 10 meter per second square, t equal to 3 seconds. So I can simplify this. You get 45, 30 plus 45 meter or 75 meter is the answer. You want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. Look at the question number 28. Body falls freely from the top of the tower during the last second of its motion. It falls through 16 by 25th of the height of the tower. Total time of fall is, let us suppose the total time of fall be equal to capital T seconds. Then Tth second is the last second of the fall. Distance covered by freely falling body in first T seconds is given by s equal half g square, and distance covered in nth second is numerically equal to g by 2 into n minus 1. Let h be the height of the tower. So total distance covered in total time of fall is equal to, given by h equal to half g square. And distance covered in the tth second can be found by substituting n equal to t. To find the distance covered in the tth second, that is the last second, you have to put n equal to t. So it's given that distance covered in the tth second or last second, 16 by 25th times the height of the tower. You can write distance covered is the last second or tth second equal to g by 2 into 2t minus 1. And total distance covered height of the tower can be written as half g square. So g by 2 can be cancelled both sides. You get 16, 2t minus 1 is equal to 16 by 25 times t square, or cross multiply. So 25 into 2t minus 1 equal to 16 t square. 50t minus 25 is equal to 16 t square. Then solve by the factorization method. So 16t square minus 50t plus 25 equal to 0. So you can do by the factorization method here. So you get 0 equal to 16t square. You can write this as minus 10t minus 40t. So you can do by factorization, get the answer. So remember the total time of fall is more than 1 second. Definitely t is more than 1. Because it is given that in the last 1 second it covers part of the total distance. Therefore, time taken to cover the entire distance is more than 1 second. So if you consider the positive root of the equation, you can consider the positive root of the equation. Here you get 0 equal to 80 minus 5 into 2t minus 5 equal to 0. So if you consider both roots are positive, one root you get t equal to 5 by 8, other value you get t equal to 5 by 2. But this should be taken as the answer. Because the total time of fall is more than 1 second, it cannot be 5 by 8. You can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem if you want to copy the solution of the problem. See the next question, question number 29. Freely falling body reaches the ground after time t. After half of this time, if that body is momentarily stopped and released, and time of fall for the remaining journey is, let us suppose the body starts falling from rest from the point O. Let us suppose the body falls from O to A in the first half of the time. So time taken to fall freely under gravity to reach the ground, if it is not stopped at any point, is t. Therefore, the distance covered in time t, the height from which started falling from, will be equal to half gt square. In the first half of this time, travel from O to A. So distance traveled in the first half of the time. That means in first t by 2 seconds, can be will be half g into t by 2 square. Let us suppose the body falls from O to A in the first half of the time. Next, it travels from A to B before it strikes the ground. According to the problem, it is stopped at the point A, and then again allowed to fall from rest from A to B. That means from A to B, it is next allowed to fall freely under gravity. Let h be the remaining distance. So for the remaining distance, from A to B, h equal to half gt square minus half g into t by 2 square. That will be half gt square 1 minus 1 by 4. So if a body falls freely under gravity from height h above the ground, and the time taken by to reach the ground is root of 2h by g. So it starts again falling from rest on the point A and falls freely under gravity from A to B. So time taken to fall freely under gravity from A to B for the remaining distance is root of 2h by g. H can be written as from this equation above, half gt square into 1 minus 1 by 4, that will be 3 by 4. So you get t into root 3 by 2 is the answer. If you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. See the question number 30. A body falling freely from height h has a velocity of 30 root 2 meter per second at the instant when it is at a height h by 3 above the ground. Its velocity at the instant when it is at a height h by 4 above the ground is, let us suppose, the body started falling from rest from the point O. Let A be the position of the body at the instant when it is at a height of h by 3 above the ground. And let B be the position of the body the instant when it is at a height of h by 4 above the ground. Here h is the initial height above the ground from where the body started falling freely under gravity. So you are given the velocity at A as 30 into root 2 meter per second. Started falling from rest on the point O. So initial velocity at O is 0. So you are given the velocity at A as 30 root 2 meter per second. You have to find velocity at B. So if we use the formula v square 1 square equal to as for motion from O to A first, for motion from O to A, displacement equal to distance from O to A is equal to h minus h by 3, that is to h by 3. So an initial velocity at O is 0. Final velocity V at A is 30 root 2 meter per second. So we use the equation v square 1 square equal to AS. Final velocity V at A, I denote it by VA or V1. So VA square minus 0 square 2G S equal to the acceleration for a freely falling body, you take G. Next you can consider the motion from O to B. If you consider the motion from O to B here, O is the starting point and B is the final point. So displacement equal to distance from O to B is equal to h minus h by 4. That will be 3h by 4. Again use the equation v square minus square equal to AS. For motion from O to B, O is the initial position of the body. Initial velocity at O is 0. Final velocity at B is VB. Acceleration equal to G. Displacement equal to 3h by 4. You divide the second equation by the first equation here. Divide the second equation with the first. You get VB square by VA square, or you can write V2 and V1. 2G gets cancelled. 3h by 4 divided by 2h by 3. Can simplify that. So velocity at B you get 3 into 2 root 2 times the velocity at A. The velocity at A is given to be 30 root 2 meter per second. So we can substitute velocity at A equal to 30 root 2 meter per second from this equation in this formula. You can get the answer. 45 meter per second. So if you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. Then the solution, you have to substitute velocity at 30 √2 meter per second on right side to complete the calculation. See the question number 31. A sharp stone dropped from height h above a pile of sand penetrates 4 meters in sand. The time of penetration in sand is 0.2 seconds. The average acceleration during the penetration in sand is g 10 meter per second square. Let us suppose the stone falls freely under gravity from O to A before it enters into the sand from height h. Let us suppose the stone penetrates from A to B inside the sand, a distance of 4 meters. So for motion in sand, you cannot take acceleration A as equal to g. You can take acceleration A equal to g only for motion from O to A. So for motion from A to B, acceleration should not be taken as equal to the acceleration due to gravity. Because when the stone is penetrating inside the sand, in addition to the gravitational force, it experiences the retarding force by the sand. So you cannot take A as g. So for motion from A to B inside the sand, the time of penetration is given to 0.2 seconds. Displacement is equal to 4 meters. The final velocity at B is 0. You have to find the acceleration. So you can use the equation kinematics involving these 4 letters. You can observe that you know the values of time t, displacement s, and final velocity for motion inside the sand from A to B. You are asked to find acceleration here. You are not given the velocity. To find velocity, you should know the h, which is not given the problem. You are not given the velocity, and you are not asked to calculate the velocity. So you can choose you are not given the value of initial velocity u at A, and you are not asked to find the initial velocity at A. So you can choose the equation without the letter u. That is s equal to vt minus half at square. Here s is 4 meters, v is 0, t equal to 0.2 seconds. So you can find the acceleration A from this. So you get minus 200 meter per second square as the answer. If you can want to copy the solution of the problem, you can copy the solution of the problem. But here, sometimes you may be asked to find the velocity at A or height h. So that's not asked in the problem. In case that is asked, you must know how to calculate that. So for motion from A to B, if you know the acceleration, you can find the velocity. Displacement is equal to, you can use the formula average of initial and final velocities into time. So if you use this equation for motion from A to B, displacement is given to 4 meters, velocity at B is 0, time is 0.2 seconds. So here you get velocity at A as 40 meter per second. So this is the additional calculation I am showing on the right side in case you are asked to find height h. From O to A, it falls freely under gravity from height h. The body falls freely under gravity from height h. Then magnitude velocity at the point h just before it strikes the ground at h, or best before it strikes the ground will be root of 2gh. Then substitute velocity A is 40 meter per second on the left side, and g equal to, substitute the value of g and right side and calculate the value of h in case you are asked to find h. But that's not asked in the given question, therefore this is the answer for the given question. If you want to copy the solution, you can take a pause and copy the solution. Let us suppose see the problem number 32 first. Ball released from the top of a tower of height h meters takes t seconds to reach the ground. What is the position of the ball at t by 3 seconds? So distance height h can be written as half gt square numerically. So let us suppose it falls from O to the point A, from O to A, where it reaches from height h. O is the starting point from where it started falling from. A is the position of the ball just before it strikes the ground. So in the first t by 3 seconds, let us suppose the ball moves from O to B. So distance covered by the freely falling body in the first t seconds again was equal half gt square. So for motion from O to B, time of motion should take small t equal to capital T by 3. That you can write half gt square into 1 by 9. Half gt square is the total height from which it falls from. That is h by 9. So the distance, this is the distance from O to B. So height of the point B from A is called distance from O to A minus O to B. What we have calculated is the distance O from O to B. So that is h minus h by 9 or 8h by 9. That means the ball will be at a height of 8h by 9 above the ground after capital T by 3 seconds. If you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. See the question number 33 here. A, B, C, D are points in a vertical line. The length AB equal to BC equal to CD. The body falls from rest from O, from A. The ratio of times of describing AB, BC, CD is. I have already shown the options in the earlier class. We are now discussing solution. The body starts falling freely under gravity from the point A here, passes through the points B, C, and D, such that distance AB is given to be same as distance BC, that is same as distance CD. Let each distance be equal to x. Distance from A to B is x, distance from B to C is x, distance from C to D also x. Let t1 be the time of motion from A to B. Let t2 be the time of motion from B to C. Let t3 be the time of motion from C to D. You have to find the ratio of the values of t1, t2, t3. The body started from rest from the point A. So if a body starts from rest and falls freely under gravity, then you can write u equal to 0 and s equal to half gt square. Or you can write t equal to root of 2s by g. This formula can be used only when the body falls starting from rest, when initial velocity is 0. Initial velocity can be taken as 0 for motion from A to B. And initial velocity can also be taken as 0 even for motion from A to C. Or even for motion from A to D can take initial velocity as 0. But you cannot take initial velocity as 0 for motion from B to C. So you can use this formula if you consider A as starting point, or we start timing from the instant the body starts from A. So for motion from A to B, s equal to x, time t equal to t1. So t1 can be written as root of 2x by g. Next, we'll consider the motion from A to C. Displacement equal to x plus x or 2x. And time of motion is t1 plus t2. So again, using the starting equation t equal root of 2s by g here, we get t1 plus t2 root of 2 into 2x by g. From first equation, root of 2x by g equal to t1. So you get t1 plus t2 root 2 times t1. Have substituted root of 2x by g equal to t1 from first equation on the right hand side, in the last equation. So t1 plus t2 can take root 2 times t1, or you get t2 from this root 2 t1 minus t1, or t1 into root 2 minus 1. Next, you consider the motion from A to C. You can take the initial velocity u as 0 at the beginning of motion only if you start timing from the starting point A. So for motion from A to C, displacement equal to x plus x plus x 3x. Total time of motion is t1 plus t2 plus t3. Again using the same equation, t equal to root of 2s by g, which I have written in the starting. Here t time of motion from A to C is t1 plus A to D. Time of motion from A to C is t1 plus t2. For time of motion from A to D is t1 plus t2 plus t3. Instead s equal to 3x. So this you can write on the left hand side. You can write t1 plus t2 separately plus t3. On the right side you can write root of 2x by g into root 3. So from first equation, you can substitute root of 2x by g equal to t1. From first equation, you can substitute root of 2x by g equal to t1 on the right hand side. And from this equation, you can write t1 plus t2 equal to root 2 times t1 on the left side. So you get root 2 t1 plus t3 is equal to root 3 t1. So you get t3 equal to root 3 minus root 2 times t1. So if you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. The final step, of course, you have to find the ratio of t1, t2, t3. t1 we got root of 2x by g, and t2 we got root 2 times minus 1 into t1. That means we have found t2 and t3 in terms of t1. t3 you can write root 3 minus root 2 into t1. So you get the answer as 1 is to root 2 minus 1 is to root 3 minus root 2. You can take a pause and you can copy the solution of the problem if you are interested to. Copy the solution of the problem. So I will have to still discuss. Have discussed up to question number 33. Still I have to discuss the questions numbering from 34 to 39. There is 6 questions I have to discuss. I will be discussing the next 6 questions, 34 to 39, in my next class.